All right, let's dive into one of the most famous underdog stories of all time. It's a tale you probably think you know, a shepherd, a giant, an impossible battle. But the real power, the thing that makes this story stick around, it's in the details that most people miss. So, let's get right into the story of the shepherd and the giant. So imagine hearing this voice just booming across a valley. Send a man to fight me. It's this challenge thrown down by a warrior so massive he's more like a monster than a man. And that one demand, it freezes an entire army dead in its tracks and sets the stage for everything that's about to happen.
Okay, so let's really picture the scene here. You've got two armies, the Israelites and the Philistines, squared off and ready to go. But here's the thing, it's not a battle. It's a total standoff. The valley between them is just filled with this thick, heavy tension, and the non-stop taunts from one guy, a giant named Goliath.
And the contrast between the two sides, it is absolutely night and day. On one side, you have an entire army, thousands of trained soldiers completely paralyzed with fear, hiding from a single man. On the other side, you've got Goliath, just standing there, defiant, his mocking challenge echoing out day after day after day. And this fear wasn't just down in the ranks with the regular soldiers. No, it went all the way to the very top. King Saul, their leader, the guy who's supposed to have all the answers, is just as worried and clueless as his men. He has absolutely no idea how to deal with this seemingly unbeatable enemy. But while this whole army is basically trembling in their boots, the story takes a hard turn away from the battlefield. We're heading to the quiet, peaceful fields of Bethlehem, because it's there, far away from all the noise and fear, that a totally different kind of strength is being built. And yeah, this is where we meet our hero. So meet David. He's the youngest of 8 brothers, basically the run to the litter. He's so young, he's not even allowed to join the army. His world isn't about war and battle strategy. It's about green pastures and his dad's sheep. He seems completely disconnected from the huge national crisis that's unfolding just a few miles away. Now, while those soldiers are all relying on their armor and their spears, David has a totally different source of strength, and you can hear it in this line from a song he sings out there with his flock. It reveals this deep, personal faith that he has, and that faith is the foundation for the incredible courage he's about to show.
And listen, this wasn't just some abstract, theoretical faith. He might look like an inexperienced kid, but out in the wilderness, David is a proven protector. We're talking about a guy who has faced down lions and bears to keep his flock safe. His courage has been tested by very real, very dangerous threats.
So how does this shepherd even end up at the battlefield? Well, it all starts with a super simple everyday task. His father, Jesse, basically asks him to run a food delivery to his older brothers in the army. That's it. This one little errand is what puts David on a direct collision course with Goliath. So when David gets to the camp, he brings a totally fresh perspective, one that's been forged in faith, not in fear. He doesn't see an unbeatable giant, he sees a massive injustice. And this point of view is about to set him on a collision course with pretty much everyone, from the lowest soldier right up to the king. This is David's honest-to-goodness reaction when he sees what's happening. There's no fear there. It's just pure confusion and, frankly, a little bit of outrage. He just can't wrap his head around why the army of Israel is cowering before this one guy who's mocking them. To David, the inaction is way more shocking than the giant himself. And the response he gets, even from his own family, is just immediate dismissal. His oldest brother, Eliab, basically chews him out. He sees David's confidence not as courage, but as the dumb, naive rambling of a little kid who has no idea what real danger looks like. But David isn't fazed one bit. His response is just simple, firm, and it cuts right through all the fear in the camp. You see, while everyone else is paralyzed by what they can see, David is moved to action by what he believes. So, word about this bold kid travels fast, and it makes its way all the way to King Saul. But when they bring David in, the king is just as skeptical as everyone else. He looks at David and just sees a shepherd boy, not a champion. The whole offer to fight must have sounded like a joke. David's response here is absolutely crucial. He doesn't brag about his own power. He doesn't puff out his chest. Instead, he tells the king the story about facing the lion and the bear, and he gives all the credit to his faith. He's making it crystal clear that he's not trusting in himself. He's trusting in the very same power that protected him out in the fields. And that changes everything. David's conviction is so powerful, it just cuts right through the king's own despair. In this moment of unbelievable risk, and maybe just a little desperation, King Saul agrees. He decides to put the fate of his entire kingdom right into the hands of this young boy. And so the stage is set. The shepherd boy, armed with nothing but a sling, a few stones, and his faith, walks out into the valley to face the giant warrior who has held an entire nation hostage with fear. Goliath can't believe what he's seeing. He looks at this kid with no armor and just starts laughing, hurling one last insult. He sees David's faith as the ultimate foolishness, a total delusion that has led him straight to his own death.
But David fires right back, defying the giant's weapons and declaring that he comes in the name of a much higher power. Then comes the action. With the skill he's practiced 1,000 times, he slings a single stone from his pouch. The result is instantaneous. The unbeatable warrior falls.
The effect on both armies is immediate and absolute. The Philistine army, whose entire confidence was wrapped up in their one champion, completely panics and flees. And the Israelite army, who just moments before were hiding in terror, are suddenly filled with this incredible courage. They charge after their enemies and win a massive victory. This single act of faith didn't just win one battle. It literally changed the course of history. Goliath's story ends right there, in the dust of that valley. But for David, the shepherd boy who became a champion, his incredible journey was really only just beginning. And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. This story forces us to ask, is a champion really defined by their size, their armor, their physical strength? Or is it something else entirely, something found in courage, in conviction, and in a faith that simply refuses to be intimidated?